Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
Please enjoy the show. Shots.
This is WTF Nation Radio.
Fuck you, I'm on peanuts.
How's that for some intro music, man, huh?
Good stuff.
That was kind of weird, man. I found that last night. That was all right. It's a guy, I don't even know his damn name. He he goes on Omegle and he just infiltrates other people's streams. And he goes, "Hey, you know, I've been beatboxing for a little bit, and I just wanted to know if you guys wanted to hear some of my beatboxing. I think it's pretty cool. I've been practicing a lot." And some of them are like, "No, get the fuck out of here." And then the people that say yeah, he kind of blows their doors off.
Huh.
The dude's super talented, man. Anyway,
Yeah.
welcome everybody. Today is the 3rd day of June 2018, and this is Kicking It with Kaz. I'm Kaz, and I'm joined here by my lovely co-host, Owl.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Flattery will get you everywhere. That's what I hear.
So they say. Hello, everybody, and I hope your weekend so far has been good and safe.
You know, I've got a love-hate relationship with Mondays. I love what I do. I love my job, so I really don't mind going into work. But I really do love the weekends. I love not having to go anywhere, be anywhere, do anything. I enjoy the downtime.
Well, and that, you know, when you've got a weekday job, that weekend gives you that break and that disconnect. As long as you use it right, it's a wonderful thing. The question is, do you use your weekend right?
If you first you have to define what using your weekend correctly means, and chances are I didn't do it correctly. Normally, you know, I'm packing, you know, because I'm getting ready to move, but I'm in a little bit of a holding pattern as far as the house goes. So there's nothing that I can do to speed up the process, and I don't want to pack my way into a corner where I've got to start digging through boxes to find underwear and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I'm ready to move.
Oh yeah.
The only thing that's completely assembled is the studio area. Everything else is kind of in boxes. I totally disassembled my kitchen, my table, everything is starting to stack up in the kitchen, ready to move.
Well, you know, the nice part about being single is you can set yourself one plate, one spoon, one fork, one knife.
Nope, they're packed.
Oh.
I've been eating with plasticware and paper plates.
There you go. Hey.
You know, a little bit not good for the environment, but hey, you know, it's only for a short while.
Well, and exactly. And that's, you know, in your position, you're actually doing the smart thing. You're not allowing yourself to end up being overwhelmed at the last minute with oh crap, it's here and I've got to get ready.
Yeah, even when you know I sign the papers and I have the keys, I've got I've got to let my apartment complex know. I got to give them 30-day notice.
Yeah.
So, but I've got work to do at the house. Like I'm going to put in floors. I'm going to paint it. I'm redoing the kitchen. I got to put up ceiling fans. You know, there's lots of work that has to be done before I move in, and I'd rather do that work when there's nothing in the house.
There you go, women. This is your true tinker around the house, take care of things guy, and he is single. Get him. Get him now while he is still single. He loves to do housework, and you wouldn't even have to worry about him. So come on, ladies.
No, I got to be looking too. I'm not at that looking phase yet.
I know.
which is crazy. I don't know, man. I don't. I really like symbiotic relationships. But dude, since I got divorced, I'm just not in the mood.
Oh yeah, you have to feel it. You have to want to find someone, and you almost have to define it beforehand. Because I mean, there's so many ways you can approach a relationship. Shoot, you're talking to someone who's on his fourth marriage. Um, it's all in how you decide to put it out there in life as to what's going to come back to you. Um, I tell people, what are you really looking for? And when you're young, what's the one? Hey man, she better be great in the second. I sit there and go, I used to think that way too. But if she's not my friend, if she's not someone I can't sit down and just talk to, it doesn't matter how good she is in the sack, because you got to be able to talk to her afterwards.
Right.
So it's one of those things. Yeah, even when you start thinking you're ready, you almost have to define what you're really looking for.
Yeah. And it's just some information that came across my desk. Hi Holly, how you doing? Welcome to the show. And Mom and a bunch of other people here.
Ari's in there, and anybody who says hi, if we catch it, we'll try to say hi to you. You're special to us. You're all good.
Anyway, I just found out through like third person, backdoor type stuff that my ex-wife got remarried last weekend.
Oh yeah, you had mentioned that.
Which is it was just weird. I don't care. I mean, I don't care one way or another, but it was weird.
Well, and I'm sure. I mean, it's kind of like, wow, that how long did that take, and where, it kind of makes you wonder, right?
Well, yeah, I don't think she was screwing around behind my back.
Oh no. In other words, was she already thinking that way? Because, like you say, you're not ready for it. Someone who truly loves someone, it takes a little while to get over. And it takes a little while to really sit down and say, okay, what am I really ready for?
Well, it's not that getting over it was it was harder for me and my daughters. So the getting over it wasn't the issue. It's the desire to get back into it is what hasn't happened yet. And it is what it is. No one says you have to be married.
No.
Or in a relationship. So.
And hey Ari, yeah, it is hard to open up again. You were engaged for 3 years, and that can be very rough. The funny part is you're talking to one of the old men on the radio in WTF who kind of is up there with Ice as far as marriages.
I was gonna say Ice is probably like, oh, four? Those are rookie numbers, man. You need to bump those numbers up.
Exactly. He can put me to shame on that one.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I was married for 17 years, so that's a long-term investment, and it didn't work out, and it sucks.
Yeah, and exactly that, and I completely I'm with you on that. The longest relationship I've been in, I'm in right now, and we're coming up on 11 years married.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. We were going to go to Hawaii last year, but getting the corporation up and running took precedence. So this year we're going to Hawaii. Going to go to Kauai and actually at the end of August, first part of September, and just enjoy some quiet. Which goes back to do you know how to disconnect for the weekend?
I've never been to Hawaii. I'd like to go and visit though.
I tell people you have to kind of decide what kind of touristy nightlife you want to have, because the Big Island 24/7, there's always something going on. Okay, then you got Maui. Maui, things start shutting down somewhere around 11, 10, 11 o'clock, maybe even midnight. And it's got some nice touristy stuff.
Well, you're not. I mean, Kauai's a little off the beaten path.
Yes, Kauai is actually the quiet. There's only one island quieter, and that's Lanai. Kauai is quiet. Everything is pretty much shut down by 6 o'clock. I mean, all the shops, everything. It's quiet. It has nice daytime stuff to go do, and it's kick back. There's no fast pace at all, and truly, about 6 o'clock, you won't find hardly anything open. It's one of those places that you go if you like quiet, or if you're looking for a chance to just spend time with the person you're with.
Yeah.
So yeah, and Lanai, I have never gone. That's a special one. I guess there's a one or two hotels there, and that's about it. And it's really small, and it's very, very quiet.
They got a big airport there.
No, they don't. As a matter of fact,
Would you fly into Maui and take a boat?
I don't remember how to get there. I do think you have to take a boat, but even if you have a plane, I don't think it's one of the bigger ones. And the whole idea is it's it used to be plantation and run by Dole, and now it's just it was given back, and at this point it's just a very small island. I mean, it's really even the facilities aren't really 5-star. It's a quiet place.
That's not a bad thing, man.
No. I am just saying and see where I'm going in Kauai. There's actually a base there, a naval base, and there's 26. They actually have 26 cabins on the beach, and each cabin is a 2-bedroom, fully furnished, washer, dryer, pots, pans, you name it.
Is that a part of MWR, or is that a civilian run get up?
That's MWR.
Cool.
And you go there, and they go by grade, of course, and it is just there's nothing between you and the ocean but 75 yards of sand. And your back porch, you're right there. And what is it? The base itself has one restaurant, and then it has a BX/commissary shopette. And it is it's not a big area, but it's nice. And
no active volcanic activity.
Exactly. I
Dude,
don't have to worry about that.
Kilauea is angry, man.
Oh, tell me. The only thing I have to worry about is because of the time of day I'm flying in, I have to make sure that the volcanic activity isn't causing too much corrosiveness in the sky, because we land on Oahu and we switch over to another flight.
Oh.
Yeah. And so as long as the airlines are running, that's fine. I don't have to stay there.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, I remember when Reykjavik erupted, that screwed up air travel in Iceland, and it went all the way over into Europe. I mean, there was so much volcanic ash in the air that it just shut down air operations for a good couple of days.
Oh yeah. And what is it? I don't know if you remember Mount St. Helens.
Oh yeah.
Remember, there was a lot of things got shut down for months because of the ash in the air and the wind patterns. And then even if you lived within, Spokane is a good distance away from Mount St. Helen, and it took years to fully get rid of the ash. And they had to come up with special filtration systems for the police cars and the city vehicles.
Yikes.
Because the ash actually gets through regular filters. it actually gets through regular car filters and will actually get into your engine, and that stuff just becomes like cement in the cylinders.
That's what I've heard.
So, yeah, but no, we're gonna fly in. We go in through Oahu, and then we're gonna go into Lehua Airport on Kauai. So, no,
I don't think you're gonna have many problems.
I don't think so either. Um, from what I can tell, from what I've heard, the volcano is actually pretty much, the wind patterns have kept it away from any kind of interference with air traffic. So I'm just looking forward to the disconnect. Everybody, I talk about me going camping and stuff. I actually turn off my electronics when I do stuff like that.
You almost have to, or else it's not really a vacation unless you tune out.
Well, exactly, and a lot of people forget, and this is something that I just in the last year got a smartphone. Okay, and how many people are going, wow? I just in the last year got a smartphone, and I have had to make sure to put it aside because I've seen people to where they actually go through withdrawals to where they start getting twitchy if they don't have their phone near them because they think they're not in on something.
Well, it's crazy at work. Like when right now, since we're in the testing phase of this new aircraft, there's not a whole lot for me to do. So there is a lot of downtime. So I will, I'll be on my phone just passing the time. But when I'm busy, I will. I mean, phone comes out of the pocket. It's on my desk. It stays in my desk. I'll go and do things, and then I'll come back, and there'll be like, 5 or 6 messages. My boss trying to find out, where I am, or I'm somewhere else in the plant, or I'm in a different lab. And it's almost I have to explain to him that I just leave my phone. I don't carry my phone with me.
And that's
he called me a unicorn.
Well, yeah. It's a smart thing to do, actually. Being part of WTF Nation Radio, there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, and I will. Some people who know me will actually they know I put my phone down, and I do not pick it up. They actually, if you want my attention, and you think you're going to get it through the phone, there's a chance I may not see that phone for 3 or 4 hours.
Right.
I've made a point of making it so that I'm not allowing that to govern how I think or how I do things. It's just one of those things I've noticed a lot of people don't do anymore. You get into the whole driving thing, and that I see that they've got cars now that will help you stop, and I say, that's a good thing, and it's a bad thing. The people who are driving with things in their hand and they're paying attention to the phone, it's great because maybe they won't hit someone. But the downside is they'll be thinking in their head, well, I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. I vote for 100% control over the vehicle that I'm driving. I don't want that automatic braking. I'm sure it's great, but I'm fine.
Well, exactly. I mean, when I'm in when I'm in my car or my truck, the phone goes down. I'll turn it off if I have to. If I'm expecting a phone call, I have Bluetooth, but that's it. And even then, I have Bluetooth, and I'll tell the person I'm on the road. Keep it quick, and that's it. I don't answer my phone at all. If my phone could be ringing the entire drive, and I won't pick it up until I'm on the side of the road or pulled over or at wherever my destination is. Partially because Texas just passed a no handheld law here in the state. So, and see that to me that's smart. We've got to start.
The thing is, I didn't need a law to be passed to know that you shouldn't be using your phone while you're driving.
Well, you being a father, did you teach your daughter to drive?
Yeah, I did. And rule number one was cell phones go in the glove box.
Yeah. Wasn't it interesting to see how they kept looking? They knew where that phone was.
Um, no,
Okay,
my
you were
my
lucky.
my kids are not. My youngest daughter is a little bit more dependent on her phone. My oldest one, there's no way she could give a shit less.
Good.
Dude,
Well,
I'll send her a text and she might not answer it for 2 days because she just doesn't have her. I mean, her phone's with her, but she's not buried in her phone.
and that's a good thing. I've been a kind of a surrogate father here and there to some kids over the last couple years, and that's one thing I've actually taught some people to drive, and young lady specifically, um, she kept saying, she kept looking at her phone the minute she heard any kind of ding. I said, okay, the phone has to go off, and you need, if you're going to learn how to drive, especially with me in this car.
Mm-hmm.
And that was very hard for her. It's social media. It's one of those things that if it grabs you, you have a hard time cutting away from it. And that's, like I said, that's the reason I go out camping, and that's the reason I do some of the things I do. I even see people bring of all things, they bring their stuff to the gym.
I was driving to work a couple of weeks ago, and there was a person, I don't know if it was a male or female, in a minivan next to me, and had a heavily tinted windows, so I couldn't really see inside the vehicle or what was going on. But what I did see was the glow from her tablet that she had bungee strapped to her steering wheel.
Oh God!
First thing came to mind said, I really don't hope you. I hope you don't get into an accident
Yeah,
where
no
your
kidding.
where your airbag deploys.
Oh God. I didn't think of that part. Yeah, that because I mean that would be seriously messed up, because that tablet, the way those things blow out, that would break up the tablet, and she would have components in her face.
Definitely.
She would have components in her face. Oh, didn't even think of that.
Well, yeah, she was. They were watching cartoons. There was a cartoon like it looked like Ren and Stimpy or something, playing while she's driving. Hey man, I got a bunch of stories.
Yeah.
I want to get to.
Let's go for it.
I just wanted to update everybody. There was a marathon in San Diego today. This morning, it was about 11 a.m. California time, and there was a report of an active shooter. So police in San Diego said a shooter was arrested on Sunday after gunfire was heard not far from the finish line of the city's marathon, leading to a frightening scene for runners and spectators. The suspect is a woman in her 50s. Her name was not released. She was taken into custody. Police said she was holding a gun to her head and fired off rounds in an upper-level parking garage. There's no longer a threat to the community, the San Diego Police Department tweeted. The scene is now secure. The Rock and Roll Marathon has resumed. She was involved in a misdemeanor hit and run. And it was reported to police around 11:40 a.m. The suspect slid underneath a parked car inside the garage and then held a gun to her face. Spectators described on Twitter hearing at least one shot fired near the finish line of the marathon. Several runners told San Diego newspaper that they had finished their race without even being interrupted by the incident. What's funny, it's a little sub-story on this, is one of the police officers responding to this incident accidentally shot himself in the leg.
Oh no!
While responding to this event, he will recover.
Good.
And I'm sure he will be the butt of many jokes.
I'm sure he will. It fascinates me to no end the way people will decide that running is the thing to do rather than take responsibility. Come on, all she had to a hit and run. When you hit someone, don't run, just stop, take responsibility, because these days, I'm sorry, people, most of the time they are going to find you,
I,
and maybe not right away.
I was really confused by the story because I've read probably 4 different stories, and depending on the punctuation and the way that the message was delivered, either she was involved in the hit and run or she wasn't involved in the hit and run. It just so happened to happen at the same time frame in the same area. The gunfire, she fired off a shot or two. Another story said police officers fired 1 or 2 shots. So I don't know, man. It's really, really early.
Yeah.
Let the investigation take place.
It's a weekend, and where they're at, there's all sorts of chaos with a marathon. So they're probably still having a hard time figuring it out.
But yeah, just looking at that picture, that's a lot of people, dude.
Oh yeah. Oh, in our area we have a marathon, and it gets pretty big. I don't think as big as that, but the chaos that brings, I can't imagine, especially a big city like San Diego, how much chaos that causes. Because the traffic alone that it brings in when people have to come in, all the runners have to come in, they have to park their vehicles away, and they have to show up ahead of time according to their grouping that they're running with.
Yeah.
And yeah, it can get really stressful just to get down there for that run.
I've never been inclined to go running for fun, ever.
Nor have I.
It doesn't do it for me.
I did it in the Army, and when it came to PT and when it came to PT tests, I was great with my push-ups and sit-ups. I maxed them out every time. But when it came to the run, you could throw a backpack on me. You can throw all sorts of weight on me. I could go forever, but I'm not fast. And so I just never really had the inclination to go running fast.
Yeah, I think we're the same. I'm not a good runner. I can road march. Yeah, you put a rucksack on my back, I can go forever.
Exactly. If people were surprised, I went for my expert field medic badge, and I was the 7th person in. I wasn't going fast. I just could go. As the saying go, I may not be fast, but I'm sure.
It's like the tortoise and the hare.
Exactly.
So we're talking about traffic and how sometimes traffic is brutal. I imagine it's pretty brutal in the DC metro area.
Oh, I bet it is.
But there is a retired U.S. Marine colonel that died.
Yeah.
And he, in his obituary, he mentions traffic and drivers in Northern Virginia. A retired U.S. Marine Corps colonel hated D.C. area drivers so much his family mentioned them in his obituary. Colonel Robert F. Gibson died in Annandale, Virginia, on December 26th, 2017. So this is a little bit older story. He was 77. In an obituary published on Sunday in the Washington Post, his family wrote about his distinguished military service and his feelings about local drivers. A native Northern Virginian for the last 30 years of his life, he hated how all of you are incapable of driving competently. Gibson's widow, Barbara, said that her family wanted to capture in an obituary as a part of her husband's daily life. It's a general sentiment a lot of folks have, she said. He traveled on the Beltway in traffic that is horrendous. Gibson, who was originally from Dayton, Ohio, served as a Marine officer for 30 years and was deployed to Vietnam twice. Also, he participated in operations in Desert Storm, Kuwait, Lebanon, and other countries. His obituary says he was awarded the Legion of Merit with Gold Star and the Bronze Star with Combat Distinguishing Device. He is survived by his wife of 36 years, his children, and a grandson. He was buried at Arlington National Cemetery with full honors.
And yes, Ross, the Beltway.
I can't imagine, man. I know that that's like gridlock all the time.
I recently talked to someone who just visited the DC area, not but within the last week or so, and that was the one thing that was brought out was, they start in traffic and they live in traffic all day long.
I mean, it's not. It's just that everybody around in that area does similar things. They all go into DC, so everybody's going to DC in the morning and then coming out of DC in the afternoon. So
Oh yeah, yeah.
well, it's like it's the traffic here. I mean, traffic going into Dallas is horrible
Yeah.
every
Oh,
morning, and it's horrible every afternoon. In the middle of the day, it's fine.
yeah. Well, except for maybe around noon when everybody goes quickly to go grab a lunch, which never goes quickly.
Yeah, they have like self-sustaining areas where you don't really need to get into your car and drive anywhere once you're there.
Oh, that's true. No, no, that's the one thing. When I drove truck, I enjoyed driving until once you go east of Chicago, everybody seems to be angry. It's angry driving. They take it personal. They make it personal. Um, the minute, I mean, really, right as you hit Chicago and then east of Chicago, over onto the coast. That's the way everybody drives. Anything west of Chicago and down, it's really not that bad. People tend to be nice, light, and relaxed. But man, you get over the coast and people just really, you will watch hands gestures come out.
Yeah, it's pretty aggressive here in the Dallas metro area. Um, it pays to be an aggressive driver, because if you're not an aggressive driver, you're gonna wreck your car.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You got to be very, very proactive. It's very offensive driving.
Oh yeah. And when you get into the big cities, unfortunately, that's almost a necessity.
Yeah, if you're a reactionary driver, you're gonna have a bad day.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. My wife and I have a fun time in the same vehicle. She takes it personal, and I don't take anything personal. I mean, after driving truck, when you have people cutting you off and then hitting their brakes, daring you to hit them, I swear. you just you After you go through stuff. I mean, I had an exhaust brake, and so you have regular brakes, you have trailer brakes, and then you have exhaust brakes. Okay, I've had to hit all three at once to keep from hitting people, and I still was within inches of their bumper. So after doing stuff like that, it takes a lot to rile me up. But my wife will sit there and and I'm going, honey, take a breath. It's nothing personal. It's okay. They're just having their day. Let's not let it bother ours. And sometimes I'll get that look. But yeah, I can relate to the whole traffic thing. That says a lot when a guy has to put it in his obituary.
Yeah, it's just driving to me. I don't like traffic. So whenever I'm moving to a new place, I carefully choose where I live. I seriously, dude. I mean, it's probably pretty bad, but I'm like, I prefer to make right turns as opposed to left turns.
Oh wow!
Because a right turn is safer rather than cutting across traffic. I prefer lights over stop signs. So I'll plan my drive, and I'll be like, okay, if I lived here, then everything's good to go.
Yeah.
Just to be, the safest way possible.
And see, in the bigger cities, that I can understand that. I'm not in quite as a big a city as you are, so, and it does make a difference.
Yeah, when I had a place when I had a house in Ohio, it was all interstate, man. I drove into Toledo and out of Toledo. into
Yeah.
Toledo for working out of Toledo. Traffic wasn't bad there at all.
Well, and for traffic here where I live is instead of taking 5 minutes or 10 or was it 7 minutes to get down and downtown, it may take you 10. Nothing that's going to really hurt your day.
And I'm never in a hurry. If
And yes, Ross.
if I've got to be somewhere, I leave with plenty of time. I'm never, even if I'm gonna be late, I'm not gonna hit the gas and go 1,000 miles an hour just to get to work on time. If I'm 5-10 minutes late, I'll stay 5-10 minutes later at the end of the day. It's
Exactly.
no big deal.
The whole idea is don't take it personal and don't let it affect your safety.
And I do not. I want to make this very, very clear. I do not loiter in the left lane. Left lane is for passing only.
Well, yep.
I would
Well,
really like to see more tickets issued for people who just loiter in the left lane.
In Oregon, that's actually a law.
They started doing no trucks in the left lane. Here they had it in Dallas and in Fort Worth. I think Fort Worth scaled back on that, but it's still a thing in Dallas.
Yeah.
No semis in the left lane.
Well, in Oregon, any trucks you can pass, but you're not to loiter. And cars, I think they finally decided to peg it on cars too, where same thing. And driving there, that actually kind of kept things a little bit easier to drive. People weren't making it impossible for you to get around. So
I got a funny Amazon story.
I see this.
So order stuff. I mean, I order stuff from Amazon a lot, and all of my stuff has been reasonably packed.
Yes. Quite. My wife loves to order stuff from Amazon, and so do I. I order a couple things. I can relate to this story because a couple times, yeah.
So an Amazon customer was shocked to discover the small package of Oreos that he ordered were delivered in an absurdly large box. Jason Howell tweeted a photo of his online delivery showing a single pack of kettle corn flavored Oreos next to the empty box. For added protection, the cookies came padded with an inner cardboard box insert and a very long piece of bubble wrap. He during his unpacking, there's an actual video of him doing a live unboxing. He goes, "There's nothing in here," Howell says as he pulls out the bubble wrap, and then he pulls out more plastic padding before discovering the cookies. This box had this package of Oreos in it. He goes, "What the hell?" he says. A little bitty thing of Oreos in this big honking box. The kettle corn Oreos he ordered are one of 3 flavors chosen as a finalist in the company's hashtag My Oreo Creation contest. According to a review, they feature the golden wafer with a kettle corn flavored cream and puffed millet bits. I don't know what a millet bit is. The other flavors chosen as part of this contest were pina colada and cherry cola. We might need to get Spanky in on this, and she can do like a live taste test.
We've mentioned so many things. We've got to get her going on this. And I actually have seen the pina coladas and the cherry colas out at the base.
Yeah, Ross has a good point. He says, "I'll bet you not one cookie was broken."
I would hope.
And this could be and this could actually go both ways. If they just packaged it in a regular, appropriately sized box,
it could have easily got crushed.
They could have gotten crushed, and then he would have written a crappy review because all the cookies or half the cookies were broken.
It makes you wonder what was going on that day at the packaging center at Amazon. Someone just sat there and said, "You know what? I just got told off because I didn't do this right. So you know what? Screw my manager. I'm gonna really."
Well, the thing is, on packing those things, they don't ship it. The cost of shipping isn't determined by weight.
No.
It's if that box is 24 inches is long, 12 inches high, and whatever, if it's a humongous box, that's mathematically that's like a 15-pound box, but it might just have a 1 pound of cookies in it.
Well, yeah. The whole idea is you pay for the space,
Yes, that's space.
and so yeah, you just sit there and you look at that going, okay, someone was either they got told off for not doing it right, or someone maybe that person ran out of the right size box for a little while. Who knows?
KC says that the cherry cola one fizzes. What does it have, like little pop rocks or something in it?
Yeah, actually, I remember my wife and I. She pointed that out. They have pop rocks in them.
That's kind of cool.
We noticed that actually this weekend. She sat there, and we were both sitting there going, God, we're on a diet, and this both sounded good to us, and we're like, we'll walk by it. Hold my hand, we're walking by it. Because that sounded fantastic.
I'm like an old school cookie guy. I mean, I do like Oreos. I will kill a gallon of milk in a box of Oreos in no time flat. But I avoid those. I do like ginger snaps and spice cookies and what are those? What do they call them? Wedding cookies, the powdered sugar.
Yeah. I know. Sugar? No. I can't remember.
It's like an almond cookie.
Yeah, Sandy's.
It's not a Sandy. It's like a Sandy.
It's like a Sandy. Okay.
But it's white and they're crescent shaped.
Okay. But no. Oh shoot! In fact, with me, they have cinnamon roll Oreos that I can eat I can go through one of those in one sitting. They're fantastic.
I've never done Oreos other than I've done the white ones or the vanilla. Yeah, let's call them vanilla. The vanilla ones, and I've done just your traditional Oreo, with the dark cookie and then the white icing. When I was a kid, I used to take a box of the original Oreos and take out the filling.
Yeah.
And put the filling aside. I'd eat the cookies, and then I would eat all of the icing.
How many of us didn't do something weird with the Oreos? Come on. I was the type that I'd take off one half and just sit there and use my teeth and dig off the filling.
Uh-huh.
Well, I was the same way. I love that filling.
And then the cookie breaks off into your milk.
Oh, yeah.
Then you got to get a spoon and dig it out, and it's all mushy.
Oh, I wouldn't do that. I let it float around. It didn't matter to me.
Anyway, this isn't. He goes. Another commenter agreed. While it's some algorithm they use so packages don't move around too much in the truck while doing their shipments. This isn't the first time someone has called Amazon out for their extreme packaging. In March, a woman received a boom pole for her microphone inside of a 4-foot by 2-foot box with 30 feet of paper in it. The box was so large, the woman was able to fit inside of it.
Wow. Again, I am sure there's reasoning behind it, but you'd think yeah.
Casey, you just nailed it. Biscoff cookies are awesome.
Oh, there we go.
I first was introduced to that methamphetamine of a cookie on Delta Airlines flying from here to Montana, and I loved it. So I started looking for those cookies, only to find that they sold them in my local grocery store. Mm-hmm. Then I also discovered that they have it's Biscoff spread. It tastes just like a Biscoff cookie, but it's a spread with the consistency of peanut butter.
Oh, wow.
Dude. It never, I swear, it never made it to anything. I think I bought, it goes really, really well with graham crackers, but it goes really, really well also with simply a spoon.
Of course. I'm one of those people that when it comes to stuff like that, if it may taste great on stuff, but if it tastes good on the spoon, let's get rid of the middleman. So no, yeah, and we know yep. Casey's piping up. I'm waiting for Spanky to chime in a little bit more with that stuff.
Oh, we're talking like snacks and food and stuff, and she hasn't shown up yet.
I saw her there for a minute. Yeah, she was there for a minute, but I think she's always got something going on. Who knows? Maybe we talked food and she's snacking right now.
Yeah, or she's on the way to the store to get all the stuff we're talking about.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
I think I would be interested to try the kettle corn Oreos.
The thing is, I actually did see those out at the base also. I saw all three of them, and like I said, the cola one was interesting because they had the pop rocks, but yeah, the kettle corn caught my wife's attention because she likes kettle corn. So, and what she's notorious for doing is she'll actually go get stuff like this. She'll take a couple of them and then she'll put it out at her office and let them have the rest. So she's not the one who's eating all the extra sugar.
That's not a bad idea.
Oh, I'm worse. What I'll go and do, sometimes was it during Christmas time, Whitaker's and Russell Stover's put out those gigantic boxes that are like 20 pounds.
Yes.
Okay. I'm mean. I'll go buy it and say, okay, honey, go put it in your office.
My ex's family have this weird holiday tradition because their grandmother will get a box and just fill it full of those Russell Stovers and Whitakers and whatnot.
Yeah.
And you really don't know what you get.
Oh.
So they'll pick one, they'll take a bite. If they don't like it, they'll spit it out, throw it in the trash, and just go to the other one. It's like the whole family sits in a circle and destroys these boxes of chocolate, and they might enjoy 2 or 3 of the chocolates that are in it.
Well, old traditions. I think that was the funny part of growing up in the household I did is some of the traditions that are around the holidays. You could sit there and say, where did this come from? And my mother or my dad could actually tell me how long ago it started and which side of the family. Some of the, and it's actually kind of cool to hear about it. And then you have to sit there and say, do I pass this down to my kids?
Yeah, I think we've, it wasn't really until I got, married and my ex-wife's family was like that. Very, they had, crepes on Christmas morning.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
The turkey dinner for Christmas dinner, but then the day after, my ex's mom would go out and strip the rest of the turkey and all the turkey that wasn't eaten. And she would make a turkey salad out of it. I mean, she'd chop up apples and grapes and put in like nuts and stuff and mix it all up and mayonnaise and would have that. And then she would make, she'd take the bones and she would make a turkey soup.
Oh yeah.
With it.
Oh yeah. Nothing ever went to waste.
Nothing ever went to waste. No.
Oh no. My family was brought up the same way. Going out and buying half a side of beef, and my mom would be home for a day or two just after, even after it came from the butcher. Well, if you wanted hamburger, you got to put so much beef with so much of the beef fat and all that stuff.
Oh,
so.
And cookies. Making cookies was another thing. It was just, it was me, my ex-wife, and 2 kids. We would make 30, 40 dozen cookies.
Oh my!
And that was our carry-on luggage. We would ship what would normally be our carry-on luggage up to Montana, UPS.
Yeah.
And then all of our carry-ons were, 2 bags each, and it was nothing but cookies.
Oh, wow.
So we had something to snack on during our travel because it took. It's really it's like 3 hours to Salt Lake City and then an hour from Salt Lake City into Bozeman. So 4 hours of actual flying, but the day was really long because it was probably an 8 or 9 hour day, just with all the traveling between here and the airport, waiting around in the airport, laying over in Salt Lake, and it's just so. But we had plenty of cookies.
Oh yeah. Well, and when you've got kids, time doubles.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We love kids to death, but boy, that it can make time not fly.
And it wasn't just one kind of cookie, man. We would make gingerbread cookies. I have a recipe for coffee cookies, which is really good. We had little candy cane cookies. So you have to make a bunch of batches of that because you have to have green dough and uncolored dough, which was more of a tan, and then some red dough. It was a very large undertaking, which usually began in right about Halloween. You know, I would start making the dough, and I'd freeze it, and then probably 2 or 3 weeks before Christmas, we would start making the cookies. Gingerbread was probably the most labor intensive because you have to make them, roll them out, cut them. They bake, but then after they bake, they cool down. Then you have to decorate them. So it's just, it was, dude, hours and hours. Delicious, dude. And the thing is, and that was just us.
Yeah.
But then, you know, my in-laws, they would make their own batches of cookies. My ex-wife's brother and sister would come in, and they would have their own batches of cookies made. So we, dude, good, you know, none of us are diabetic. We probably all should be.
And again, women, you hear the meticulousness of this man and what he's willing to do. Come on, ladies, he's single.
Yeah. trying to hook me up with something, huh?
Hey, you know, I'd like to hear a Mr. Cause talking all joyful and happy about his a woman who dotes on him as much as he dotes on her. That would be nice. I would love to hear something like that.
Well, I'll let you know if that happens at some point.
We'll get you there. We'll get you there. Well, you want to go with another story, or you want to go ahead and take a break?
I don't know, what time was it?
It's
Oh, we got
8 minutes till.
8 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. According to this article, you've been busy.
Oh, one of my brothers.
Yeah. Luxury brand Louis Vuitton has hired a shaman to prevent rain from marring the brand's recent over-the-top show in the south of France. I'll bet it's working now. Thanks, Ross.
No sound?
Yeah, the sound wasn't working.
Uh-oh. What part when wasn't working?
As soon as I clicked over to this graphic. So I'll read the story again. Luxury brand Louis Vuitton hired a shaman to prevent rain from marring the brand's recent over-the-top show in the south of France. The guru had also been hired to tame the weather in previous shows around the world, but skeptical executives at parent company Louis Vuitton had recently axed the jet-setting holy man from the budget. But then a downpour unfashionably soaked an outdoor show last week in Chantilly, France, so they brought the shaman back on the payroll. So they hired the shaman back to stave off the rain, and apparently all of his work succeeded. Because it didn't rain until right after the show finished.
And what I had said that I guess didn't get picked up is it is possible. As shaman, we actually do learn how to interfere with weather patterns, and
That just seems like an abuse of power.
That's my problem. It is actually an abuse of power, because if you go by the true rules as of being a shaman, you take responsibility for anything that you do. Well, say on a tribal basis, it's maybe not so bad, but when you're talking with the culture the way it is these days, okay, if you go and you interfere with rain that is supposed to hit on one day, maybe you just caused some plants that were supposed to get the rain to not get the rain. And if you delay it, then the rain comes a couple days later and maybe those plants die. It just fell on you for the death of those plants. And we can get into the whole, maybe the water was supposed to be there for someone. Maybe it was supposed to be there so that the roads would get cleaned off and there wouldn't be oil on the road, so an accident happened, and so therefore all of a sudden there was an accident because there was oil on the road. Therefore it comes back to the shaman who didn't allow the water to clean off the road.
Well, the thing is, you'd start dicking around like that, then you got some karma to balance out later on.
And that's the problem. I've actually had people ask me to interfere with weather patterns, and the first thing I say is you've got to make it worth my karma. Because the minute you interfere with it, it comes back to the being who caused it, not the being who asked for it.
Ah.
And people will sit there and say, "Well, I'll take the karma for it." It's like, no, that's fun. That's a nice sentiment, but it doesn't work that way.
You can't even put that in writing.
No. No, I've had people come across and ask me for many things to do many things as a shaman. And the first thing I say is, well, you're asking me to take the brunt of something that I didn't do.
Ari says shamans don't stop the rain. Artillery does. That's a fact, actually.
Uh-huh. And James, no, the Army does not have a shaman on every base. Trust me. There are very few shamans in this world in all actuality.
I wonder if there are any shamans in the military as chaplains, since they have to represent.
You would actually probably know it, because you will hear about Wiccans. I can tell you right now, usually a shaman would not take that position.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Well, and not only that, dealing with a shaman, this is always the funny part about it. Most psychiatrists and psychologists have some interesting diagnoses for us. And so trying to sit there and say, well, we have a shaman, and the first thing that is going to come across is he delusional? Does he see things? Does he hear things? Well, that's part of their religion. That's part of my belief is I do hear things and I do see things. And how does that go over with command, and how does that go over with the logic of the Western medicine community.
It's definitely not a mainstream
No,
deal.
no. That's always the fun part about. I've got friends because I was a psychiatric specialist. Oh, Brad, watch what you're saying, please.
Don't take the bait, dude.
I had psychiatrists and psychologists friends, and I say that I'm a shaman, they get a smile on their face, and they say, "Do you see and hear things?" And I said, "Well, are you looking to get me admitted?" And it just kind of the conversation degrades from there.
All right, man, it's break time. This will be a short break. It's only going to be, let me see, math. That's about 4. That's about 7.5 minutes.
Okay.
So it'll be really quick. So go refill your beverage or,
Take an old man break.
yeah, shake. Make sure you get up, walk around, and make sure those blood clots break up, and yeah. All right, guys, we'll be back in a few minutes.
Shots.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
This is Eric Stolhansky, and you're listening to WTF Nation Radio.
All right, everybody. We are back after that little bit of a short break. Walk it off, get some feeling back in your legs. If you guys are joining us on Facebook Live or Mixer, thank you very much. YouTube, hello, everybody. And even those of y'all that are on the TuneIn app because you're driving, going places, or you're just not sitting in front of a computer. But, yeah, man, we got all kinds of platforms.
Good to see y'all.
Yeah.
Good music.
Yeah, it's an isolated drum track from Led Zeppelin, "Fool in the Rain."
Huh. Nice. Sometimes just nice to sit back and relax.
In the days before, like, loop pedals and synthetic music. It's actually a man beating the drums.
Yeah. Back when they actually had to do setup and actually had to use drums, not those little plastic things.
But hey, technology.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I don't hate on technology. I've got a MIDI station, and we'll probably end up getting an electronic drum set, because those things sound pretty darn close if you get the right programming in it.
So I've heard. I'm not much of a well, I used to be, but I'm not much of a make my own music type person at the moment. Who knows where the future's going to take me, right?
All right. Well, you know, I have a feeling I know where the future is going to take Michael Rotondo.
Yeah, that's quite a story.
Yeah, a 30-year-old man who made headlines last week after he was ordered by a judge to vacate his parents' New York home has officially left the residence, but not before calling the police on his father regarding some missing Legos.
Oh, jeez.
Michael Rotondo was aided by a $3,000 contribution by InfoWars host Alex Jones. Rotondo waved to journalists as he loaded his creaky station wagon with all of his belongings. The millennial told reporters he called police on Friday morning because he believed his 8-year-old son's Legos were in the basement and his father would not let him look for it. Instead, the father offered to look for specific items, and if he found them, he would bring them out. The Legos were later found after the police arrived.
Jeez.
Rotondo refused a judge's request to work things out directly with his parents, who sat quietly nearby. He failed to persuade the judge to grant him another 6 months to remain in his parents' house, and he was therefore he was subsequently ordered to leave. The eviction drama began in February when the parents left their first note saying that Michael had 2 weeks to vacate his room in the family's Camillus house. Rotondo did not take the threat seriously, and his parents brought him to court. On Friday, Rotondo stood outside the place he once called home, but had some trouble before then. His car, which had a broken cooling system, took a few tries to get started. During his car trouble, he told reporters he said goodbye, more or less, to his parents before jumping into his rumbling station wagon. "I got to get going before this thing blows up," he told reporters. As for his destination, Rotondo said he planned to spend the next week at an Airbnb in Syracuse. After that, he planned on moving in with a distant cousin. It was not immediately clear if he was going to look for his own place.
Watch out, cousin.
See, I don't know, man. Yeah, 30 years old, you shouldn't live at home. I mean, there are extenuating circumstances. This whole situation did not it didn't come to a head in a weekend. This is years in the making.
No, and you have to look at it. And I didn't catch the full interview, but he actually got interviewed by Tucker on Fox News.
Are you kidding me?
No, he actually sat there and tried to justify himself. I kid you not.
That's crazy. I mean, there are situations. My ex-wife has an uncle who is still living with his mother, and he's 60-something, still living with his mom, and the dude is brilliant, dude. He's got a PhD from MIT for mathematics.
Yeah,
he's a really good musician. He composes music, but he's never left the house.
Well, and my son is autistic. Has a job, has 2 degrees. He just isn't good with money, and so I have to take that into account. But other than he doesn't do good with money. But otherwise, he lives in my house, but he takes care of his own space.
Well, and Katie Ann also mentioned this guy's got a kid.
Yeah, isn't that mind blowing? He has a kid, and that makes you wonder if this guy is he, because it sounds like he doesn't have much money. So you have to wonder if he's purposely not doing anything to skip out on child support. You always have to wonder that.
Yeah, there's all kinds of what's not mentioned in the story is probably just as interesting as what's in the story.
Exactly. Exactly.
My when both of my brothers graduated college, they both my I'm the oldest brother. The next oldest one, he graduated from college, and he moved back home, paid off his student loans, and then boom, he was out of the house, and that was by an invitation from our parents.
Yeah.
Come home, get your bills in order, and then he bought a house and finally eventually moved out. My youngest brother, he met a girl in college and they ended up moving in together and eventually got married and had a family and everything. So he never moved back into the house.
Well, with me, I got out of the service after my first hitch. I got out for 6 months, and when I got out, I spent 2 months with my parents, long enough to find a job. And as soon as I had a job and my little bit of money from it, I found my own place.
Yeah, I mean, I got out of the house at right after I graduated, and I worked immediately, man. It's just I got I had a friend that lived in a neighboring town, and I rented a room space from his mom,
Yeah.
and we both had we both worked at a Saab dealership, so I just immediately I graduated, and that was it. And then I joined the Army and did 2 hitches.
Yeah.
It was fine. I've never been inclined to move back home. Even when I was going through a divorce, my parents were just like, "Why don't you just move back home?" I'm like, I appreciate it, but no.
Yeah, when I was going through my second divorce and I was out of the service, my parents were saying you can move back, and it's like, I love both of you, but I've gotten to the point where I'm really used to being on my own. And I think I'm going to keep it that way.
Yeah, it's not that I just don't feel, even when I go to visit, they're my parents. We love each other very much. I'm their son, but it's not my house.
Oh, exactly. And that's just it. I mean, it's kind of like if you've ever had a friend or someone stay over for any amount of time, as much as they're your friend, it is an invasion, and you do look forward to the minute that they leave. So yeah, and when you go to your parents, even though you may have lived with them until you left for a job and everything else, you're invading their house. They claim their space back as soon as you left.
Yeah, I had a pretty kick-ass bedroom. That was like the hardest thing to leave.
Oh,
I had like the entire basement was finished out.
nice.
So it was like a small house. Actually, that finished basement is bigger than the apartment that I'm staying in right now.
Oh, jeez.
It was massive. But yeah, I really like my independence.
Oh, yes.
I appreciate the hand-ups, but I respectfully declined shacking up at my parents' house as a grown-ass man.
Well, and that's just it. Is if you can afford it, it is in the best interest, because it will keep the relationship with your parents healthy.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to be a burden, because then that being a burden, it fosters some resentment and
that fosters many other things.
yeah.
So yeah, and I again, this kid, the fact that it took going to court, that's just yeah.
Well, and even the judge says, can't you all work this out on your own?
Well, it sounds like the parents were willing to. They were trying to be nice about it, but he's the one who insisted.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. Unfortunately, there are more kids out there like this.
I'm not sure what the squatters' laws are in New York, but
Makes you wonder, right?
sure does. So I got some alarming.
Yeah.
This is kind of alarming news. I don't like to do alarming news, but this is important. Suspected Taliban fighters who attacked the Afghan Interior Ministry on Wednesday were wearing old U.S. Army camouflage pattern uniforms and driving a captured Humvee, a tactic the enemy has used in the past. The commander of U.S. forces in Afghanistan said. 8 terrorists in a captured Humvee attempted to penetrate the Minister of Interior headquarters in downtown Kabul. The attackers were attempting to drive through a checkpoint into a government complex where they were stopped by Afghan security. They were wearing old-style Army uniforms. The good news is that the guards at the gate immediately recognized them as old uniforms and called on them to exit the vehicle so that they could be checked out. And at that point, the fighting started. One of the attackers detonated his suicide vest and actually killed himself and some of his colleagues as they were conducting the attack. They never gained entrance into the headquarters.
That's a positive.
That's awesome, man. The Afghan forces are on the ball.
Yeah.
Let's see, the Afghan Special Police Reaction Unit on alert status inside the city quickly reacted swiftly and killed the terrorists. 7 of the 8 enemy fighters were killed in the attempted attack. 1 was taken prisoner. Sadly, one of our Afghan comrades was killed, and a few more were wounded, but the attack was a failure.
Well, that's a really good. That's a positive thing, especially for Afghanistan right now.
I mean, it sucks that it happened, but it had a good outcome.
That's what I mean. In other words, the fact that they were able to stop the attack from happening, their own forces did that.
And that speaks well of their training too.
Exactly.
For a long time, even in Iraq and Afghanistan, the police forces were trained up, but they weren't really proficient.
They weren't seasoned.
So shit would happen, and they would tuck tail and run, or they would be influenced to switch sides. Either monetarily or we're going to kill your family.
Oh yeah, there was always some way. But they're finally starting to actually stand up for their own country and realize that it's worth it. And that's a good thing.
I mean, we've been there for a long damn time.
Yeah, we have.
And it's good to see some good news come out.
So even though it was a negative as far as the fact that they tried the use the enemy's uniforms switch, the fact that they got caught, that says volumes.
Yeah.
So,
now, they were old uniforms, so I wonder how they got a hold of those. We burned everything. Anything that we had to get rid of.
Yeah.
We burned it. We got rid of it. We destroyed it.
Well, that makes you wonder if they got it from capture or if they got them from maybe soldiers that they got to switch sides or people that they managed to at least get them not to go to work.
Yeah, I mean,
that type of thing.
The Humvee is one thing, but I mean the uniforms are quite another.
Anything's possible if you put your mind to it. That's sometimes that's not a good thing. But that's the not so good story. You have another story lined up.
I do.
Yes.
You want to take the lead on this one?
Yeah. A New York couple won a $5 million jackpot when they bought a lottery ticket just to get change for a $100 bill. Bronx residents William Williams, 24, and Michelle Concepcion, 25, told New York lottery officials they bought the $5 million fortune lottery ticket for $20 from C&N Liquor in the Bronx because they needed to make change for a $100 bill. I needed to make change to buy some perfume, so I bought a lottery ticket, Williams said. I chose the $5 million fortune ticket because I won $700 on it in the past. Williams said he was shocked when he scratched off the lucky ticket.
Oh, dude, it was a scratch-off even.
Yeah. So immediate, right? When I realized I won and ran out and told Michelle immediately, he said. The couple said they are planning to use their money to help out family members and open a motorbike shop. Well, that's nice that he's willing to acknowledge that he, part of, let her in on it. I mean, what guy wouldn't sit there and say, I just won $5 million. Where's the back door?
Yeah, I'm looking at that picture. I don't see a wedding band on either of their fingers. So
Exactly. You sit there going, how tempted was he when he realized, either it entered his mind or didn't enter at all. But you just sit there going, how much was he sitting there going, I wonder if I could go out the back door right now.
I just hope that it ends well. You read so many stories, and I've even done stories like this in the past about people who have won lottery winnings, either from hundreds of thousands of dollars to hundreds of millions of dollars, and it completely destroys their life.
Well, there's actually a show, The Lottery Changed My Life. And they show different people who will win the lottery and how their family all of a sudden comes after them, saying, outright saying that they owe money, and people will actually write them letters demanding money, saying that they deserve it. And these people actually have to hire people to answer the mail just because of this type of stuff.
The thing is, nowadays states are adopting anonymity for lottery winners.
Yeah, you do have that choice. It's gone back and forth. It depends on the state. But the sad part is, and this is even when the state says you can put in for an anonymity, the state still makes the records public if you write in for it. In other words, you can actually, if someone sits there, if a bunch of people say that they said they didn't want their name to be published, it won't be published. But the minute someone writes in, they can actually ask for it and get the names.
Yeah,
so,
your tax records that's public record. You can get to it.
Yes. So even in that anonymity, or going for that option doesn't mean someone can't find out. And people who are looking to try to get handouts will actually do that.
It's just hard to. Let's just say you won $200 million in the lottery. That's really hard to hide, even if no one's looking.
Yeah, and here's the question. Okay, what would you do with $5 million?
I don't know, man. $5 million. Of course, there would be no one in my family would have any debt. My kids would have college completely paid for.
Uh-huh.
I'd have a pretty decent house. It wouldn't be a huge house. $5 million really isn't that huge amount of money.
No, especially if you want to make it last so you don't have to work.
I mean, it's a lot of money. It is a lot of money, but
well, if you want to make it last, that means okay, you can go and splurge a little bit, but then you've got to come up with a plan financially to put it away and to invest it so that you get so much out a year, so on and so forth.
yeah, I've never won the lottery. I don't play the lottery, so I probably won't win it. But they're saying, start, as soon as you win, before you even pick up your money, you get a lawyer.
Yes. Oh, that is the first thing they say. They say don't show up to the lottery office. Don't even acknowledge that you won the lottery until you have a lawyer. Because the minute you acknowledge it, even before you show up to the office, things are going to come at you. That's the one thing that was pointed out in How the Lottery Changed My Life. Is they said, every one of them said, the minute they acknowledged to someone that they got it, or that they won, word spreads quick. So keep that in mind, any of you lottery winners, and just in case any of you win it and you're thinking WTF, hey, we get such great salaries, it wouldn't hurt to help us out help us out a little.
Well, you got to figure. I mean, let's just say it's $1 million. And I'm going to spitball here and just say, I'll bet you at least 30% of that goes to taxes.
If not,
Federal taxes. If you're in a state tax state, then the state's going to get a chunk of that. I won $1,000 when I lived in Ohio, and I had to pay federal tax on that, and I also had to pay Ohio state tax, and then there was another lottery tax that I had to pay. So my net take was probably $600 out of that $1,000.
and see, that's just it. Is some states, see, Washington State doesn't have a tax, but they have a lottery tax. So but it doesn't apply until you hit over 1,000. Exactly at $1,000 is when it applies. Anything under $1,000, you don't have to report.
And it doesn't look like they were hurting for cash. I mean, if they're trying to break a $100 bill to buy freaking perfume.
Well, it looks like he got a little bit more. He could get a little bit more than perfume there.
That's I'm happy to see good things happen to folks.
And that's nice to be positive and enjoy. There's a lot of good things out there that do happen, no matter how hard it can be to watch TV sometimes. There's still good things that happen out there, still positive things. So, and sometimes you got to look at the funny ones too.
We had, when I was in Ohio, there was a lottery winner in Michigan. She was actually on public service, like not Social Security, but she was like poor, not even employed, had very little or no income. Well, she ended up winning the lottery, and I want to say it was like $250 million.
Wow.
She didn't report it, or she didn't disenroll herself from public assistance.
Oh my.
So she ended up getting in a bunch of trouble just from not disenrolling herself.
And see, that's irresponsible. Come on, people.
I mean, the government's eventually going to find out about it. I mean, they move at the speed of smell.
Yeah.
So it's not going to happen right away.
But they will catch you.
They'll get you.
At some point, they're going to realize, because one hand may not talk to the other, but eventually, it does get caught. So.
Yeah, imagine how different their life would be if that perfume store accepted $100 bills.
Yeah, good point, Casey. And said perfume store doesn't give cash itself if they accept cash to.
I don't know what that means.
If they accept cash to begin with. Okay, we'll figure that one out. I think what you meant to say is, okay, what store that doesn't have expensive perfume wouldn't have a $100 bill to change? Well,
I don't know. $100 bills are counterfeitable. I mean, the new ones aren't so much, but a lot of places won't take anything above a 20.
I've heard that. I haven't seen it here where I live, but I've heard that in some places they're a little bit more careful, and some places don't accept the higher denominations.
I remember when I went to Korea, you weren't allowed. It was recommended that you did not use anything higher than a $20 bill downtown.
Oh yeah. Because if they figured if someone saw that you had more than that, you were a target.
Not so much that, but back then $100 bills were easily counterfeited, and Koreans can do some shit.
Yeah, yeah, no kidding. Yeah, nowadays I guess they have a pen out there that you can draw across it, and it'll know depending on the color that the ink comes out on the $100 bill, uh, tells you if it's real or not.
Yeah, it'll react to the.
To the parchment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, stuff that changes over time. So, well, we have a story, an interesting story that happened over in Australia.
Which one is this?
It's a hotel valet.
Oh, the valet. I'll pull up that picture. This dude's having a bad day.
Oh, you want to read it or you want me to?
Oh, you do it.
Okay. A hotel valet had to be cut out of a Porsche after a bungled parking job, which saw the luxury sports car end up squashed underneath an SUV.
I'm trying to figure out what that top car is. That kind of looks like a Subaru.
That is, yeah, I
Or
think it is a Subaru.
Or maybe Lexus.
I think more of a Subaru.
Yeah, I'm thinking Subaru.
A large crowd gathered to watch as the driver was rescued from the soft top Porsche Carrera by emergency workers outside the Hyatt Regency Hotel in Sydney, Australia. The car had reportedly accelerated during the parking attempt and somehow ended up under the orange sports utility vehicle. Escaping uninjured, the valet was embarrassed and a little bit shocked.
He's probably unemployed now too.
Yeah, that would be my guess.
But I'm really actually impressed by what the rescue crews do and how they braced that SUV on top.
Yeah. I mean, that's actually pretty snazzy little setup they did.
Yeah.
But then you have to sit there and say, how fast had he had to be going to scoop up underneath an SUV?
Yeah, I mean that car is almost all the way underneath.
And I'm sorry, even though it is a sports car, and yes, it has a low nose, you still had to have been going pretty quick. So, wow. I love your caption. Damn it, Carl.
I was like, oh, I don't know what to put there. Like, you had one job. That would have been funny too.
Oh, really? But yeah, you could just you sit there going, what had to been going through that valet's mind?
Australia is really big on having CCTV cameras all over the place. I wonder if that's on video.
You know, I bet you it is, because it's almost as bad as the UK as England.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm almost betting.
But amazingly, that car that's on top doesn't. I mean, I'm sure it's tore up on the bottom.
Oh, I'm sure.
But it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of damage to it.
No, looking at where it's at and knowing where the engine is at, as long as it didn't hit the oil pan, everything else, I mean, you maybe have to do a little bit of muffler.
Gas tank.
Maybe not even that. I don't know. Yeah, that's a soft top. You never know.
No, I'm not talking about the Porsche. That Porsche is screwed.
Oh, no, I'm talking about the SUV. That's a soft top, so it may not even have damaged the gas tank. So, but yeah, he did a damn good job on that.
Employee of the month, right there.
Oh, baby. Next job, cab driver.
or he's the guy that takes the keys and he's not allowed to drive.
Uh-huh. Thank you. Yes, I will make sure your car gets here. Here you go.
Yeah, just go ahead and park your car and just bring me the keys.
Wow. Jeez. Okay. Well, there's another good story that kind of goes along the lines of interesting things that just make you go, a plane during the holiday.
Oh, this is the stinky dude story.
Uh huh. You want this one?
A plane full of holiday makers. I guess that's that means vacationers.
Uh
A
huh.
plane full of holidaymakers was forced to make an emergency landing after passengers began to vomit and faint because of the stench of one man's body odor. The flight was heading to Spain when it had to make an unexpected detour as passengers became overwhelmed by the unbearable smell of the unwashed man. The man in question smelt so bad that other tourists began fainting and vomiting after the plane took off from the Netherlands. A Belgian passenger said that the smell of the man was unbearable. He said it was like he hasn't washed himself for several weeks. Several passengers got sick and they had to puke. Staff aboard the Transavia plane had reportedly tried to quarantine the passenger in the toilet of the Boeing 737 before pilots took action to divert the flight. The plane landed in the Portuguese city of Fargo and allowed the smelly man to be removed from the aircraft. Transavia confirmed the emergency landing was due to medical reasons. You'd think that would have risen some flags in the waiting area.
Yeah, I mean,
Baggage screening, going through the...
if it's that bad, someone, I mean, because you have to sit there waiting for boarding, someone should have gone, or would have gone up and said, "Hey, that's bad."
Dude, you're nasty.
And to sit there and think about this person that is so bad that he's making other people's puke, and he can't tell. I mean, come on, we've all been in the field. We all have had our times without showers. But to be that bad? Whoa, dude. That's horrible.
I don't know, man. Some people are they're not self-aware.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, either that or maybe it was his own way of thinking that maybe they'd give him some special compensation. I mean,
Say that again?
well, think about it. I mean, if he thinks, well, I smell bad enough, maybe they'll be to first class or
Um,
something like that.
I mean, some people just smell bad. There's a story out there of a woman who has it's a condition where she if she eats certain things, she begins to smell like fish.
Well, and that, believe it or not, that's true of a lot of people. It's just a matter of finding that thing that actually makes you react. A lot of people don't realize that garlic. A lot of people who will eat garlic will smell like garlic when they sleep.
Well, I don't know, man. When I was over in Iraq, you get the locals there. They smell a lot like curry, which smells remarkably similar to BO.
Yeah.
They're not really unclean. They just smell like curry because that's what they use in, I don't know, 90% of the dishes that they make.
I know, and that's kind of you have to sit there and say, was that his problem? But the fact that it was that emanating, oh man,
I mean,
you have to sit there and say, how many of us had, and I'm looking in the room, and was it James says, yeah, we had a sergeant like that in one of my units.
Now, was
And
he?
yes, Casey, he did have a special room, the lavatory. But
I mean,
yeah,
are they just not aware, or are they nasty, or do they have conditions? I mean, it covers the gamut.
yeah, it does cover the gamut. I've known guys that are painfully aware that they've got some form of body problem, or even, there's, you know what halitosis is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I've actually known people who've had halitosis. They were painfully aware that they had it, and they did everything they could possibly to do to mitigate it. And it only lasts for so long. And they were aware. They could sit there and you'd see them looking at their watches, and they're like, okay, I'm talking to this guy. And all of a sudden you'll see them pop something to kill their breath.
I went to school with a kid who had chronic halitosis, and it wasn't because he didn't brush his teeth. He had a condition. And I feel bad. We kind of picked on him. We called him dragon breath.
Well, yeah, and that's just it. I've known a couple that, no, their teeth, they actually went to the dentist. Their teeth were in great shape. They brushed their teeth. They brushed their tongue. They brushed their mouth. They used scope. They used anything and everything they could possibly think of. And yeah, you're right. It's something in their chemistry. And I've known people that have had body odor problems, and you're right, when they eat specific things. A common one that people don't realize is garlic. I said that because I've actually had people sit there and say, yeah, we had garlic, and man, we went to bed, and man, my wife, I could still smell the garlic, man, but I know she brushed her mouth. It's like it may actually be coming out her pores.
Well, yeah, exactly. And in Korea, most everybody over there goes and enjoys kimchi. You eat enough of that stuff, you begin to smell like it, and you can tell every morning at PT. Yeah, everyone's sweating out that kimchi.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. Let's not talk about what we smell in the morning in PT. I always had a good time on Monday morning because I wasn't a heavy drinker, and we'd have our Monday morning PT formation, and you could tell the guys that were the weekend drinkers. They'd come in, and yeah, it smelled like a brewery. And Casey, yeah, it brings up good points. Is conditioned usually because of an imbalance of bacteria of some sort in their body, and it is. It actually usually goes. It's the bacteria, or it's your kidneys. It's the bacteria in your intestines not processing right, or it's actually a problem with your kidneys not processing something to where it actually causes an ammonia release in your body. One of those two is normally the actual body release. And then there's always the if you're stressed or you're defeated, your sweat actually smells different also. So fun topics to be talking about.
It's funny because it reminds me of a song by the Dead Milkmen. It's called My Many Smells.
I can't say as I've heard of the Dead Milkmen.
I'd love to play it, but copyright. So go and look it up. Just go to YouTube and type in My Many Smells. It's by the Dead Milkmen. It's a pretty funny song.
That has to be an interest. Sometimes you have to wonder how people came about their songs.
Dude, if you listen to that band, all of their music is like that.
Oh, really?
They got a song called The Bleach Boys. So the guy sings a song about how much he likes drinking bleach.
Oh, God.
Another one, Smoking Banana Peels. Yeah, that band's got some interesting music.
Good sense of humor.
Yeah. I mean, so much so you're like, are these guys serious? Because all their music is like that.
Well, sometimes you have to laugh at yourself and you have to laugh at life. And as I'm saying that, I kind of wanted to bring something up, and I know it's kind of off topic and off stories, but we keep seeing it here and there. You have to laugh at life. You have to remind yourself, you hear me saying, don't take things personally. Guys, that's the reason we're here. That's the reason WTF Nation is here, is to help you keep out of your head, to get yourself out of your head, to laugh at a couple things, to keep up a little bit with current events without feeling overwhelmed. And I say this because it's, for some reason, this time of year it goes back and forth. I mean, the holidays are worse, but springtime still has its moments. Don't let the small stuff get to you. Don't, and we're around. There's someone always up with WTF, I swear. And we will help you. We will find a way to talk to you, to just be there and help you get through a bad time, whether it's a bad memory or if you just got some bad breakup news.
We have resources, man. We're not going to fix every problem, but dude, we've got some pretty good resources here.
We do. And, I joke around and, everybody knows me as Al, and you see my little thing on there. If you look in the little tiny writing, you will see shamanic minister or shamanic counselor. I am a minister. I'm a very non-judgmental minister, and I will talk to people. I don't care. I am here for people as well as the other people here at WTF. We are here for you. Don't forget that. You're our family. We're brothers and sisters all the time. We care about you. We want to help you all the time. Getting out of your head is so important. When I talk about disconnecting, there's a reason I say, how many of you, I've talked to some guys who, it was, just recently, who were sitting there, they were starting to get in their head, and I said, how long has it been since you went out camping? And they're like, man, I camped in the military. No, you're not in the military. Go camp. Go put your feet in the river. Go put your feet in the grass. Do something beyond the four walls that you live in.
I don't know. Ari might need your assistance. He said he might need your services because he's trying to re-enlist.
Well, if depending on which services you need, if you're wanting to be talked out of it, I am a minister. I'll try to help you with that. But if you need re-enlistment help, in other words, you just need some advice or you need someone there, hey, we've got people that will go through it with you, bud. That's what we're here for. We're here for you guys. WTF is owned and operated by veterans. And when we say that, it's near and dear to us because nobody else wants to take care of us. We hear politicians giving lip service all the time. And that's all it is. When the campaign is done, so are their promises. So we're here, and we're here for you. And don't forget that. I have had to be there myself for a couple people who will flag me down in the room or message me. And I'm very aware. Like I said, if I don't get to you right away, like I said, I do put my phone down. I do put stuff down. But the second I'm aware, I make a very strong effort to be there. And I don't give up on people. I don't want a brother or a sister to feel like when they left the military, they left the family.
Well said.
So I apologize to going off of track of stories, but it's something that I'm starting to see pick up a little bit. And so I'm reiterating this because we as a brother and sisterhood have to remember that we're there. We need our network. People letting us know where you are at. Sometimes maybe we may ask, if we find someone who's in an area and we find someone in your area needs a little bit of help, we may say, hey, can you go, are you up to it? And don't feel obligated, but if you're up to being there for a brother or sister, it is just as much of a reward to be able to sit there and say, hey, I'm here to listen. And most of the time, and this is coming from what was a psychiatric specialist in the military, and now a shamanic minister. Most of the time, just being there and listening is what's really just needed. They don't need me to talk. Most of the time, I just have to sit there and listen. So please don't shy away. Be there for your brothers and sisters. We're here for you. If you need us, don't hesitate.
Hell yeah.
So I hope that carries with you, and I hope that you remember that. The summer's coming, and everybody thinks, well, that's a good time, and everybody's happy. Well, that doesn't mean we still don't have our days, and it doesn't mean that breakups don't happen, and life can come down on us.
And we surround ourselves with really, with really great groups of people. We always have really interesting guests, and all of our guests are either active or former military. They're veterans doing really great things in the civilian sector. We got a couple of guests. One coming up this week. I'm not sure what's happening like Monday through Thursday. But this Friday we've got Will C. from Veterans of Comedy. Veterans of Comedy is a group of military veterans and veteran comedians who have chosen to represent and support talented veterans who desire to share their gifts with the world in the realm of comedy, whether it's performing for the troops on military bases across the world or giving back to the veteran community, showcasing those dedicated to represent warriors worldwide, or just offering special events to bring that unique style of entertainment forged through years of military service. So Will C. from Veterans of Comedy is going to be here on the 8th, which is this Friday. On the 11th, which is Monday, Chris White and Bobby Henline from Freedom Hard. I'm not sure about Chris White, but we have had Bobby Henline on the show before, and he's going to be making a return. They're from the company called Freedom Hard, which was founded in 2017. Veteran-owned, veteran-operated company based out of Texas. Their mission is to use humor as a platform to display patriotism, and their tagline is, "It's not if you freedom, it's not if you freedom, but how hard." Their vision, a never-ending ripple of positivity and patriotism. When people see our brand, it triggers positive thoughts in their mind, a smile on their face, and pride in their heart. So they're going to be up on the 11th of June. See on the 12th of June. Let me see, Joanna Mendoza, veteran of the United States Marine Corps and the Navy. Joanne is now currently an author, an advocate, and a speaker. She enlisted in the Navy when she graduated high school for one term. In 1999, she joined the United States Marine Corps. In the United States Marine Corps, she became a drill instructor at Parris Island. And she enjoyed the opportunity to transform young women into United States Marines. She also served as Marine Officer Candidate School in Quantico as a sergeant instructor, transforming women into Marine officers. 2017, she released her first book entitled Esprit de Corps, Guiding Principles and Spirituality for Modern Marine Teams. She's currently a military and veterans advisor for Pima County College, and has been advocating and raising money to combat homelessness among female veterans. So, dude, that's 3 solid guests that we've got coming up. We've always got really good guests. Our front desk office is always, banging on doors trying to get good, solid guests here. And I think our track record, or their track record, speaks volumes.
Speaks for itself. I mean,
Yeah.
They've had some really, really fantastic guests, both entertainment and solid advocacies.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of house cleaning. Let's go to Monday. Monday is ICE Monday edition, and Tuesday is Tied Up Tuesdays with Minx and Gray Cloud. Wednesday is our Donza, as much as Miss Spanky does not like us saying that.
What are you talking about? She made it up. She goes, we need to call that our Donza Day.
I bet you she did, and she's just playing with us.
I think so.
but it is a day that you can find gaming going on with WTF Nation Radio Gaming, where KJ and Hodor go at it. In fact, they've got a match coming up against each other where they've got some teams, and they're going to have a knockdown drag out coming up mid-month. I think it's on the 15th of June. And then Thursday, Sergeant's Time with Ice and Doc Madness. Always catch up on the active duty issues at the time. Friday is Friday Night Freedom with Minx and Pookie. They're always good at that point to just have a good laugh and review of the week and a look forward to the weekend. Saturday is Saturday Night Savagery with Jay Reddy and Pookie. Bring your tinfoil hats, or your Velostat hats, as I have learned to say, and tuck in and listen to what they have to say, because you never know what's going to come out of Jay Reddy. And then we come on back to Kicking It with Cause and Al. We tend to try to just have a kickback time and talk about and just talk to everybody.
Hell yeah.
And that's our week.
All right, guys. I hope everybody has a fantastic night and a successful week. We'll see you next time.
Be safe, all.
Bye.
Shots.
Did you make a wish? Yeah. What'd you wish for?
I went for big movies.
WTF Nation Radio.
WTF Nation Radio.
For the truth is that Team America fights for the billion-dollar corporations. They are just as bad as the enemies they fight. Oh, no, we aren't. We're dicks. Shit.
This is WTF Nation Radio.